Hello, my name is Robert Corlin, and I am going to be showing you guys a simple installation of Linux Mint Mate. Um, I'm going to show you a comparison for resource management on Cinnamon and Mate, and I'll go into Spotify as well. Um, this is not really in depth. It's just something that I wanted to get out there to show you, especially those guys that are using Windows. Linux has really come a long way. When they said that Linux Mate, or rather Linux Mint, is the transition from Windows to Linux, they got their point across quite well. Because I am not a Nix person, but here we are now with Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. We're going to create a new VM. I already have two VMs already created. I'm doing this as a installation video only. Again, try to follow yourselves with the best practices. Keep your VMs on different drives for speed and security. I'm going to name this Linux Mint Mate 03. I'm going to change the version to other Linux, although you don't really have to. And go ahead and set your memory. I'm going to do mine haphazardly here at close to 4 gig. Also, go ahead and change your hard drive size. It needs to be, I believe, over 10 or 15 gig. I'm going to give myself 40 and change it to VHD. And now I'm going to go to settings. From the general tab, I'm going to move myself to the tabs to the right, drag and drop a clipboard, make sure they're bidirectional so that you can copy and paste from your desktop, which I found doesn't always work, by the way. Snapshot folder, keep all that stuff in the same directory. I've seen issues with snapshots. I'm going to jump mine to a quad core here and leave everything else to default. The display, I'm going to go to VBox SVGA and enable 3D acceleration. You have the option of remote display and recording. I have used the recording. I've tested that. And it does chop off the left-hand side, or at least did it mine. And I have multiple monitors, so it gave me an issue with that. Go to your storage, go and click on your optical drive and mount your ISO image. At this point, you can actually just continue, and I can only go by what this is. So, but if you want to mess around, you can. Obviously, shared folders. You can add shared folders. Change the UI when you boot up the system or the VM, which I'll show you in a second. Now I'm going to go ahead and start the VM. So you see the file, machine, view, input, devices, help. That's all there. Alright. One of the interesting things about Linux Mint, if you want to burn this to CD or DVD and or USB and boot from those devices, you can load up Linux Mint and play around with it without even installing it. So it gives you a feel of whether or not you even want to install it at all. And there, you can do dual boots. I'm not going to go into dual boots. It's out of the scope of this video. But it gives you a complete range pretty much to test things out, look at the system tools, and play around with the Office tool. Go browse the web if it picks up the network. check out the terminal. I'm just going to go ahead and install Linux Mint now. It's really simple. Just double click it. You're going to go ahead and click your specific language. I'm going to pick English, obviously. Install third-party software. Hit continue. So allow you to, for your graphics cards, Wi-Fi, sound, chipsets. Moving on, I'm going to use LVM, and you have the ability to make changes. Like I can take that 4 gig drive, dual partition it. I'm not going to do that. So it does give you that option to do there. I'm going to go ahead and install it now. Write the changes to disks. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Hit continue. Now you're going to pick your where you're at. Eastern Standard Time is where I'm at, so I picked New York. Now I'm going to name the computer, which is going to be Linux Mint Mate 03. I'm going to add my username here, that I can't spell. Add my password. You can have this to log in automatically. I know there's a lot of people that like to do that. You really shouldn't do that. That does not follow best security practices, so I do not recommend you doing that, but you can do it. And you can encrypt your home folder as well. It's definitely more secure in terms of if you have any kind of PI. So I do like that option. But Microsoft has another option. It's BitLocker. So I'm not going to make you suffer through the installation. You can either continue to test Linux Mint before you restart, or you can just restart, and I'm going to restart. And here it comes. Although I did see some IO issues. I don't know why. It's going to ask me whether or not to remove the disk. It already does it for me, so that's pretty cool. And now we're booting up to Linux Mint 19.1. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And now we're up. So the first thing you have is a welcome to Linux. And you're going to go to your first steps. You're going to do system snapshots. Again, I recommend putting the all your backups on a secondary drive. So that is very important. In a few minutes, you're going to see the two types, which is rsync and BTRFS. I particularly like the BTRFS because I like the fact that I can just recover from whatever disaster it is and be immediately where I was at the point of the disaster before the disaster. Where the rsync is pretty much like a typical backup. You have sequential backups, incremental backups. So those of you that know how that works, it can be a bit of a pain, and God forbid you lose a chain, or you lose a link, I should say. Again, you got your type, your location up at the top. That's where you would change your path to that second drive, and then you can schedule it and give permissions on the users. The next thing you need to do is do your driver manager. I'm not going to do it because I really don't need to do it. I'm going to show it to you as if I did. So it's going to update the cache, and it's hopefully going to find out the drivers, or find the drivers that you need automatically. If not, then you're going to have to install those drivers manually. I haven't had to do that yet, and it's because I'm not using this on a physical box. It's a virtual box, and I really haven't had that issue yet, so, or need to install it. I've actually thought about building a separate box, and I might still do that so that I can get a feel, because I also want to build another. I want to build a Nix box. I'd like to test again Redhat and see what changes they've done. I don't. The last time I worked with Redhat was when I was in the military. I dealt with Solaris, and I've also had, back in the day when IRC was the thing to do, I had 2 servers called Calvin and Hobbes, and those were my channel ops. After you install your drivers, you're going to go to your update manager. You're going to do this twice. You're going to go ahead and do a refresh, and it's going to pick up updates that need to be done. So you're going to install those 2 updates, or more. I don't want to give my video a death too soon. Anyway, so you're going to go ahead and do your updates. Again, I'm not going to torment you with the downloads. You're going to do this again, refresh it, install the updates, put in your password. I do like that it does pick up all your prerequisites. Those are good. If you think that you're going to get away with not having to put your password in like Windows does, you might as well hang it up. This is worse. It is not something that, and I know the Linux guys out there, they're going to go, hey, we can change that. Just log in as root. No, defeats the purpose. Security, guys, security. There's a reason why we have security. Alright, so now that the system's updated, go ahead and set your firewall. Again, password. Go ahead and turn it on. At the moment, everything incoming is denied. Anything outgoing is allowed. You can sudo your rules and your firewall. It does give you an option on how to do it. So, and now we're going to go to the software manager. This is pretty much like any application management software that's out today. Android, the App Store. So you can pick Steam, Minecraft, VirtualBox. If you wanted to do a Linux box, set it up, and then do your Windows, you could. Here's your File Explorer, which out of the box is not bad. So I'm going to show you Chromium to install from the App Store. It's not difficult. Pick your software that you want. It is limited to software that will run on Unix flavors. So when you've got Chrome, it's not the same Chromium that you're loading on Windows. It's a total different thing. The 2 things that I usually install are going to be a notepad. I don't like opening up VI. I think that's so antiquated. And the last thing I'm going to do is remember how to frickin' exit and save and shift Q and the hell with that. Come on, guys. It's still there. So, not going to happen. I'll load Notepad, or in this case, Notepad QQ. Alright, so Chromium is installed. I'm going to install Notepad now. Again, those are the prerequisites. It's automatically installing it. And while it's doing that, I'm going to change the background. If you notice, there's an issue right here. I didn't clip it out. It's here. So that way you experience the same thing I did. Again, this is a fresh install. I'm going to move this. I'm going to minimize. And then I'm going to close out the Welcome Center. And hey, there we go. Alright, so here's all the backups. It comes with a theme on the left, as you can see. Backgrounds, fonts. I actually particularly really like that background. You've got your control center, your package manager, and your software right there to the left. Your favorites, your all applications. You just click on that. It'll show you all the applications. And it's still categorized nice and neat on the left there. You can actually pick where you want whether you want them in the favorites. In my case, if we do Chromium, we'll do add to desktop. There we go. Add to desktop and add to panel. Add to desktop obviously puts it on the desktop. Add to panel is the same as adding it to the taskbar in Windows. So and let's see, what else can we do? Give you a look at everything that comes with it. We can do Office. Office Writer is, it's equivalent to Microsoft Word. Maybe equivalent is a strong word. I have not used any of these software applications, so I can't really tell you whether or not they're, how comparable they are or how functional they are. But and I haven't looked it up. There's LibreMath. We can create some math problems, some equations. Might have been helpful when I was going to college. Hey, look, there's some fractions. Yeah, check that out. I'm just playing at the moment. You can kind of skip it if you want. I believe I have to put the numbers inside the box, but I'm not really gonna mess with this too much. Alright, let's go. Let's move on to Impress is a program application equivalent to PowerPoint. It seems like it has some pretty good themes. It looks kind of comparable, a little different. I'm going to click on Calc, or actually I'm going to do Draw. Calc is like Excel, but instead I'm going to put this up, or yeah, Draw. Again, I haven't used these apps. Base is equivalent to Microsoft's Access database. LibreOffice is a umbrella app, so it puts everything under one roof. And it's a little more labeled. So there's your Excel. Alright, let's see, where else are we at? Go ahead and launch it. My Notepad. All right, cool. All in all, I like the mate feel. I like how mate has categorized stuff. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and look at the comparison between cinnamon and mate. I'm going to put my password in here. Let me go ahead and resize this a little bit. Ooh, a little too much there. Alright, let's go ahead and start with the start menus. And as you can see, the first thing you see the difference in is the start menu. Cinnamon is a little more polished. It's a little cleaner looking, and where mate isn't. Like I said earlier, I liked the way mate is done because if you look at the change the backgrounds, you can see that that everything is right there for you. You got your themes, your background, your font, your interface. It's right there. So it just makes perfect sense to do that. That's logical. You want like items together. You know, if I can right click on the desktop and have customized desktop and have everything that I can do to the desktop, then that's what I want to do. And if there's subcategories like screensaver or whatnot, then those should be links off that. Where in Cinnamon, it's different location altogether. So if you want to go and change that, you got to go to, and this is out of box. There might be other ways to customize this. I'm just telling you right now, right out of box, what you'd have to do. So let's look at the system resources between Cinnamon and Mate. All right, so let me resize this a bit. So immediately you can look at the difference between the processing under the CPUs. It's a higher load for Cinnamon than it is Mate. I want to apologize. I just noticed that the memory was not the same. The results are still pretty much the same. You're still getting a higher resource utilization out of Cinnamon versus Mate, but I wanted to go ahead and correct it. All right, so here's Spotify. I was kind of shocked with the way this was done. Somebody told me that Spotify was way better than Pandora, and I totally have to disagree. I started listening to music, and like when you get down to the end of it, to the music, to the song, it completely cuts you off and then plays its own commercial. Not once, but twice. And it usually does that like every second song or third song maybe. And I don't know about any of you, but that irritates the crap out of me. And, well, now the damn song is stuck in my head. I can't get out of it. I can't get rid of it. It's like an earworm. And all I do is see those people dancing. I don't want to see that. I want to listen to music. Anyway. So, as you can see, it definitely does use quite a bit of resources while it's going. And the resource management reporting is on the left. That's on the left is what the host is doing, what the actual My Machine is pushing. And the only thing that I'm running is the virtual server. There's really not a whole lot going on other than Chrome being run. But this is what I wanted to show you. Let me know what you think. So if you like it, like it. If you don't, let me know what I can do better. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a good day.